For the final time, I'd like to welcome on stage Amit Saluja, Senior Director and Head, NASSCOM Center of Excellence, Gandhinagar. Ladies and gentlemen, do put your hands together for Amit as he makes his way up.
Great, thank you. Audible? Yeah. Okay, so you all are hungry. I am hungry. Some of you want to reach home. So let's stay here for 10, 15 more minutes, max 15 minutes. I'll try to close this in 10 minutes. So I think this has been an interesting evening, or rather since afternoon. There's a lot we have talked about. Now, one thing which is there is a lot of this, to make these things happen, we need ecosystems to be in place. I mean, in the sessions, we really talked about digital ecosystems that we have, but what about the deployments of this? What about the thinking of how to go about and then making things happen? And which is where we need an ecosystem. So I'll talk for 10 minutes about the approach. Let me stand aside. Okay, so this basically slide will give you a current snapshot of where you are, and then let's read through it. We are right now in a situation where I think all of you will be able to relate to it. There's a lot that has been done in the last few years, and the whole digital infrastructure, I think, in most of the organizations in place. I'm not right now talking from an SME point of view, but from at least for a large organization, the digital infrastructure is in place. All the field devices, the data acquisitions, everything, it is there. But the intelligence part of it, it's only a limited as of now. It has still not gone to a level where it should be. A lot of those digitization initiatives are being run by a short-term focus. I'm not saying across all. There are companies who have a structured way of building a technology or a digital roadmap, but still, you will find many instances where immediate challenges that we have, we need to fix it up. So that's where, how do we find solution provider who could fix those challenges for the next 1 year, correct? So that's the way the thought process that happens. And then there are always a lot of things which gets unaddressed. You go to any plant, there will be at least a laundry list of at least 20, 30 issues will be there, which the plant would need to be fixed. We don't have money and enough resources to fix all the issues, correct? So that's where I think the current situations are. What you guys are looking for, and then anyone can correct me if something what we have captured, basically it is not okay. So then, I mean, in the panel discussion also, we talked about new constraints which is coming in. COVID has taught us a lot of these things. At least from a constraints point of view, it has really brought up a lot of things. And then these constraints will keep on coming. How do we handle these constraints? How do I reach to a level of a flexible manufacturing? With the supply chain getting disturbed, the capacity utilization in the plants are not at the same level. So we need to really make sure that the capacity is fully utilized. I think every manufacturer is looking for a flexibility in the manufacturing where the product change over time can happen soon. You can make multiple products. If there is a new product that you have to introduce, then the manufacturing needs to support those initiatives. Do I have the right digital infrastructure for the future? I think these are the questions a lot of those people will have. I mean, so okay, I have developed some level of an infrastructure, where this will take me, whether that will take me to the next 2 to 3 years, or I still need to do a lot more. And then I have a lot of ideas. I mean, I think these are the things which you would be thinking. You have a lot of ideas, and then how do I validate some of these ideas? There is always ifs and buts, whether ROI will be there or not. If I deploy this solution, how much time it will, how much days or years basically it will save for me to recover the money. So how do we take those decisions? And then how do I leverage the startup ecosystem? I think many of you would have started working with the startups, but still there is always a learning curve when you are working with the startups. So that's something which you're trying to do. So there is a one suggestion basically from a framework point of view is basically the lead, which basically I'll talk about it. So from a learn perspective, we all, I think, has crossed that stage. I mean, SME, we are still kind of going through it, but from a large organization, we understand the concepts, we understand how these technologies will help. I think the biggest focus that has to be is on the evaluate phase. Evaluate means we evaluate where are we right now currently, what are the level of infrastructure we have, what kind of processes we have, what kind of technologies that we are using, are these the right technologies for the future or not, what systems we have. So I think the evaluate phase is extremely critical, which help in building the roadmap for you. Then the next step is architect. Once you have evaluated the current state of your digital maturity, that then you basically build a digital roadmap, and then finally there has to be an integrated approach of delivering the solutions. It is where the large companies, large manufacturing companies work with the large solution providers, plus in addition the recommendation is also that work with these startups also, because that's where a lot of those ideas which are still to be validated can be executed. Now, since I talked about evaluate, I will also introduce you to a framework. This is a Smart Industry Readiness Index. Again, I'm not sure, few of you have heard of it, but this is a framework which was developed by Singapore Economic Development Board in association with McKinsey. They're way back in 5 years, 2017-18, they had created it. And then it was piloted all across the Singapore. And the whole framework is to basically assess the digital maturity from the multiple perspectives, which is listed down here. The team basically then, once it was successful, it was opened up for the other countries, and now in every country, basically, you will find assessors who are evaluating manufacturing organizations or basically plants against this framework. So this basically, if you see the different parameters that it gives, so there are total in an all 16 areas are there. At a top level, it is process, organization, and technology, and within that, there are 8 further categories. So during the evaluation phase, the plant gets assessed in detail on these 8 categories, total 16 parameters, and then you get a score of 1 to 5 against those 16 parameters, so that you get to know what level of infrastructure you have, where you stand. There is also a comparison that you get with the similar organizations globally, so that you know that where you stand here, and then how do you compare with the other manufacturing units which are there in the world, correct? So there are thousands of assessments that has been done using this framework across the world. And that way those benchmarks will basically help you. So that's, while there will be more frameworks also will be there, more ways to do it, but something that I'm trying to say is at least use some framework to assess the current level of digital maturity. The next step is once you do the assessment, then there is one more term while introducing is the tier. So tier means T stands for assess the today's state. Where I am right now is which all will come from the assessment. Impact to the bottom line, what are my cost structures, where my current cost is going, do I have more labor cost, do I have more raw material cost is more, utility cost is more, administrative cost, or different operational costs which will be there in the plant. So have a clear assessment of the cost which you are basically spending. E is basically the essential business objectives. So what are my long-term business objectives? Say from 3 to 5 years vision, if you are setting it up, what kind of an KPIs you would like to improve within your plant that basically it will help you. And the R is basically the reference to the other industries. So as I said, the assessment basically will give you a comparison between you and the other manufacturers in the world. So that way there is a reference. And what it does is Siri basically is using these 4 things, today's state, your current cost structure, your long-term business objectives, and how you fare with the other companies. These will go in an analytical model, and that's where the recommendation basically from a framework comes in on what should be your way forward, on which areas basically you should improve, what should be your year 1, year 2, year 3 kind of a plan. So basically a roadmap will evolve based on the inputs that will come out from the report. So that's something on the evaluation. So I think that's, you all should look towards evaluating your organization on the digital maturity. You can use any framework. Next is basically, I was also talking about the delivery part of it, correct? So how do you really get the solutions deployed? So basically there is one approach basically that I'm suggesting for all the large enterprise level project. I think you should kind of, and the way you are currently doing, you should continue to do. The technology companies are there to help, and I think you should leverage them fully. There is always will be some initiatives in your plants, some challenges in your plants where you need a pointed solutions. I think that's where the suggestion is to maybe also start working with the startups. And why to work with the startups is because the startups, by their nature, the startups are innovative. They can do a lot of customized things. They bring in a lot of agility within the whole system. They can turn around the things real fast. Some things which is needed very kind of and customized. The startups are there. Uh, uh, there are affordability also is there. Basically, the cost levels will drastically comes down when you are working with the startups, and then amount of the risk are low because you are doing a lot of those pilots to start with. So if you have 10 problems or 15 problems and you want to see whether if I deploy a technology, say for my 5 problems, do a POC working with the startups, see the results, and once you see that, once you get a confidence, yes, this technology will work for you, it will give you the ROI, then basically again fall back on your technology partners and then start kind of when working with them and deploy. You will always have a choice whether for a full-scale deployment you work with a startup or you again work with a technology partner, but at least for the POC part of it, that it always makes sense to kind of leverage the startup's capability. So something about who we are and how we can help from an NASSCOM. So basically, there is a center which has been set up at Gandhinagar. This was set up, this is basically part of the Digital India initiative. Center was formed from a Ministry of Electronics and IT with collaboration from the state government with an objective to accelerate the adoption of digitization in the manufacturing sector. Very, very focused initiative that has been set up, and what we are doing is basically building an ecosystem. Ecosystem where manufacturing enterprise, basically the large manufacturing enterprise, the SME sector, they collaborate with the solution providers, which also includes the startups, which also includes the research organizations. I mean, imagine there are so many IITs or premier institutes in the country. So many PhDs and the research scholars are there who are doing innovative work and bringing out new ways of solving the manufacturing challenges. But the problem happens is a lot of those research work still stays in the journals and then they never get light of the day. So what we are trying to also do is bring those research forward and then share with the technology companies, share with the manufacturing companies so that some of those research work can be used and can be commercialized. So what are the things that we do is industry thought, 4.0 thought leadership, so that awareness session, which we keep doing it. There is a huge focus on the startups. So there are more than 500 startups in the country who are developing solutions for the manufacturing domain. Basically, they are connected with us. We are also running an acceleration program for the startups where startups enroll formally, where they get complete mentoring on the technology roadmap for there, on what changes to be made in the product, on their business part of it. We connect them with the funding organizations where basically they can get the funds, and then some part of an infrastructure also we provide to them. So that way we are making startups ready to work with the manufacturing industry of the country. There are digital maturity assessment. I already talked about the assessments. So these are the assessments that we are also doing. Plus the co-create basically is a different programs that we have where manufacturing companies co-create solutions with the startups. Manufacturing companies bring their domain knowledge, startups bring their technology knowledge, and that's where the co-creation happens, and then together those solutions are done. Solution Showcase, we have created several platforms. There is an AR-based platform also that we have created, which is a permanent exhibition facility of the solutions which are being demonstrated by the startups and some of the technology companies. So you can leverage that. I mean, you go there, it's a permanent exhibition facility where anyone can go in, see around. There are different solutions being demonstrated from the different solution providers, and then you can learn about it and you can engage with them. Research and development, I already talked about on what we are doing. Then for just a very quick 1-minute summary about what we are doing with the large companies is basically, so there is a regular manufacturing innovation challenge that we run, under which manufacturing companies can give us their problem statement. We basically run it as a challenge at a national level where startups apply to that. It goes through a couple of months of an evaluation process where multiple startups participate, and finally the top 3 presents to a jury, and then finally a winner gets announced, and then winner basically then works with a company who has given us the use case. So that's a great model for the manufacturing companies to find a best of the startup in the country who has the solution. It's a great model for the startup to get a chance to work with a large manufacturing company in solving their innovative challenge. So that's where it has been working quite well. There are 21 companies in the last couple of years have taken the benefits of this challenge, where more than 425 startups have participated, where finally the 21 startups were selected as the winners, and then now they are deploying the solutions. I mean, some logos which shows which are the companies who have participated in these challenges. Now I talked about SMEs. I think SMEs is a huge focus, and it should be a huge focus for all of us. We keep talking about Make in India. Until we bring the SMEs along to work with, to kind of and come up to a level where technology is being used by the SMEs, I think we will not succeed in really driving a Make in India program. We are aiming to be a manufacturing hub of the world, so that's where the SMEs also have to come up and raise a level and then start adopting this solution. The challenge that they face is they really don't know what to do, where to go, what technologies, what kind of solutions, if it will help or not, who can deploy, how much budgets is needed. I don't have a budget. So tons of question basically comes up. So from an NASSCOM, basically, so I personally have visited more than 100 MSME units, assessed their plants, understood the challenges that they're facing, and that's where we came up with a program of Smart Manufacturing Forum. So that's a forum which we launched, which is specifically for the SMEs to build digital capabilities. So we are doing multiple sessions, master classes for the leadership team, monthly sessions we are doing for the workforce of the manufacturing company, so that they also get to know it is not just the leadership. The workforce also should understand what technologies and how it will help them. Then we are also having their self-paced learning sessions are there. So a lot of things which we are doing to build capabilities in the SMEs to learn about it. Second is hand-holding for a selected number of SMEs because they cannot move forward. We are literally hand-holding. So we are doing their assessment, 2 days of a plant assessment that we do, bring out the tech roadmap for a SME, identify the use cases that should be done immediately, bring in startups who basically can deploy those solutions. And then once the solutions are there, we have created the case studies and success stories and then promoting it in the country so that others, SMEs, then learn from these. Because a lot of time SMEs don't move forward is because they say that these are technologies are only for the large companies. So that where these success stories that has been created in the last few months, I think that will help in giving confidence to the other SMEs also that this technology basically is for the SMEs also or not. So that's basically is the summary. So we look forward to all of your support. I mean, if you're a large companies, definitely the drive for the driving innovations, leverage the startups. If you're a large companies, your vendors definitely would be there who are the SMEs. So talk to them about this, definitely. I mean, they can benefit from this program, and if your vendor's capability improves, definitely it will help you also to kind of integrate them better. If you're an SME, I think that's a wake-up call. There is already a lot of time has gone. So start thinking about something. If you need help, we are always there. Thank you.